Hi everyone, Caroline here. It's been a while. I came on here to talk a bit more about my thesis writing process of research and writing and stuff like that. If you don't know, I am now officially a third year English student. And my thesis is on the feminist analysis of female characters in certain works by Oscar Wilde. I want to talk a bit more about the books that I've acquired and will be using and referencing when writing my thesis. So let's get into it. First, I'm going to share with you the physical books that I own, which are of Oscar Wilde's works. So I'm going to start with the one that I probably won't be using, but I have The Happy Prince and Other Stories in this Wordsworth Classics edition, and this basically has all of the fairy tales in it. I probably won't be using it, but I do still recommend this. If you haven't read any of Oscar Wilde's works, I recommend starting with the stories. I just really enjoyed it. I have read almost all of them. I have one left. I won't be using this and the characters from this in my thesis, but still a great read. Another one that I won't probably be using, but kind of like I'm sharing my Oscar Wilde book collection, and that's exciting. I love this. And I have, again, by Wordsworth Classics, I have the Profundis, The Ballad of Reading Gaol, and Other Writings by Oscar Wilde. This is mostly non-fiction by Oscar. So it doesn't really have any characters, so I won't be taking characters from this, but you know, I will read it. I might find some commentary on women. I don't know what to expect from this, really. I started the Profundis and I'm like 8 pages in and I have underlined so much stuff. Very interesting. I will keep you posted on this because one of the definitive pieces that I will be using in my thesis and the character I'm super excited to analyze and look at closely. When I say analyze, I don't mean like if this character is a feminist or not, but what I mean is I will be looking at the well-roundedness of the character and the choices she makes and how maybe the other characters treat her. I don't know. I still haven't really decided. The main work I will be looking at is The Picture of Dorian Gray. I think Sybil Vane is such an interesting character. She's an actress, and she's not like a first-rate actress. She's not the best. She's not acting in like West End or something. This is just in like slums of London. So she has to make, you know, money somehow. And she enjoys acting from what I remember. I haven't read this in like a year and a half, so I will be rereading this definitely. Not once, not twice, probably like many times. But, you know, then she falls in love and you know, her ideology that now that I have found love, I don't know how to act it because it's not the same, you know, real love isn't just like acting. And then, you know, the treatment of her by Dorian is what really made me think of the female characters. Because she wasn't treated very well by the other characters, but by the author I think she was quite well-rounded. I still don't know what I'm talking about. So, we have The Importance of Being Earnest and Other Plays. This is by Vintage Classics, and this has The Importance of Being Earnest, Lady Windermere's Fan, Salome, A Woman of No Importance, and Ideal Husband. I think those are all of them. I don't know, I have so far read only A Woman of No Importance, and I really loved it. It was funny, but also quite sad, you know, when you think of the treatment of the characters. But I really want to read this and again see if the treatment of women and the contrast, because you here have the, I'm talking about A Woman of No Importance because that's the only one I read. You have kind of the old ladies who are very prim and stuck up and very traditional, and then you have the young women who kind of go against the classic Victorian woman, let's say, with being very progressive. And as we know, Wilde himself was very progressive. He was an advocate for women's rights, and his wife Constance as well, his mother as well. I think it's really interesting to see the two directions that women were taking in 19th century and are still taking, and will keep taking, like the traditional, like be the good wife, be just nice, don't share many opinions, don't be radical. And then you have, the women who really want to be seen as equals with men and who say, I do have feelings, I'm not just a vessel that doesn't think and doesn't have emotions. And we're back. Last time I talked about the importance of being earnest in the place, and one of the characters I'm super excited to talk about and discuss in my thesis is Virginia Otis from the Canterville Ghost. So this is the Canterville Ghost and Other Stories. It's the Alma Classics edition. I love this. It's just so pretty. I love the Canterville Ghost. When I read it, I was just so in love because it's extremely funny. One of my favorite things that Wilde does and how he does is how he portrays Americans, and he really kind of makes fun of Americans. So in A Woman of No Importance, Hester, she's American and she's very progressive, and the old characters, as I talked about, they really make fun of her and don't like her and think her a foolish girl because, she's very progressive and she talks about emotions and stuff like that, and they were not used to that. And here in the Canterville Ghost, we have an American family coming to England and becoming tenants in this castle. They're loud, they're quite different. In this house is a ghost, and he has been there for hundreds of years, and he really dislikes these Americans, and he dislikes basically anybody who comes to the house. So he tries to get them to leave, and Virginia, daughter of the family, she befriends the ghost, sort of, and she's really great. I already know she will be one of the characters that I focus on in my thesis. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Why am I so white? I know that I'm basically translucent, but okay. So I think those are all the works of Oscar Wilde that I have, and now I have 4 non-fiction books, which I'm really excited about. I'm gonna start with the first ones they got, although it's not the main piece that I will be looking for, and that is Oscar's Books, A Journey Around the Library of Oscar Wilde by Thomas Wright. This is a very interesting book. It's basically a biography of Oscar Wilde in relation to the books he read and his education and books he was surrounded by. Like, a lot of the first part is about Wilde's parents and their literary careers. It's very approachable and very easy to read, while giving us a lot of information about Wilde. But I don't think this will be the main source that I'm looking at. The main one will be the one that I'm so happy I managed to find. This one is out of print, and I found it on 8 books for quite cheap. That is Wilde's Women by Eleanor Fitzsimmons. how Oscar Wilde was shaped by the women he knew. See how this kind of ties into my thesis topic? The working title right now is Wilde's Women. Just that's, ooh, I love it. Okay, so this book has been out of print, and I'm so excited to read this. This basically talks about his mother, his wife, his, what was it, his niece, friends, his sister Isla, and I'm stoked about this book. Yes. Okay, moving on. Moving on, we have another book that might just be reaching a bit too far, but do I care? No. Next one is Constance, The Tragic and Scandalous Life of Mrs. Oscar Wilde by Franny Moyle. We all know, and we all like to talk about Oscar Wilde in relationship with Lord Alfred Douglas, aka Bowsy, aka the guy because of whom Oscar went to jail for. But that's a different chapter, and I have a whole rant about Bowsy and why he was the downfall of Oscar. I have many opinions about this. This is another one of those that was kind of hard to get in Slovakia, and I'm really interested in reading this. Not for my thesis, I'm basically very interested in reading this just as a wannabe Oscar Wilde scholar. I want to get a better understanding of Constance because I think she's wildly misunderstood. And, you know, she's overlooked a lot because people focus on the relationship Oscar had with Bowsy and with other men. But I think there might be something more with Constance and Wilde. I believe in a certain way he really loved her. If it were romantic or platonic or whatever, I don't know yet. I want to dive deep. You can see how much of a nerd I am. Oh my. Not that you didn't know before, but now it's kind of too much. And that's why I'm very much excited to have Oscar Wilde by Richard Ellman, the Oscar Wilde biography. And I'm really excited to read this. And not just for my research, I'm also excited about actually reading this. Why the hell not? So, there's quite a lot of books here that I have about Oscar and by Oscar. I also have some books, some non-fiction books that are like criticism and feminist books that I will be reading to kind of guide me to how I want to approach the literary texts that I will be reading. Those are mostly in PDF. I might make a video about those if you are interested. What I find interesting, I get. Those are all the books that I have. In relation to Oscar Wilde, I keep referring to him to just as Oscar because I feel a real connection to him and I know so much about him. I think we are at that level where I can refer to him just as Oscar and people already know it. I will say Oscar and my friends and family know that I mean Wilde. What can you do? I hope you are excited and kind of interested in this series. I wanted to get to kind of document my process of reading, researching, writing in my final year of university. And I will see you when I see you.